Well, yeah, that's all. That's Jimmy Snicket. Yeah. Emily Snicket was the author of this original.
Are we still pouring pints for everyone?
We are cool. We'll have to go and then we're done.
We had a bit of a mishap.
This is going to get awkward, isn't it?
I'm gonna need some kind of signal when you're all done.
I'm coming out now.
Yeah.
That's it. We've got everyone's got one.
I think we've got a spare.
That's easily fixed. There, we're all ready.
You're ready? Okay, awesome. Well, let's all just start with a big cheers to everyone. Well done for all getting together. Nice to meet you all. I wish I could be on the Isle of Man. I've heard it's beautiful. But instead, I'm in my little house in North Wales. My name's Amber. I work for Queer Brewing. I am not Lily, who set it up, unfortunately, but she is on holiday and she works so much that I've stepped in to do this for her. Who all of you have had Queer Brewing before, and who's his first time?
Everyone. I've had it before.
Okay, well, let me tell you, like, enjoy your pies, keep drinking, but I'll tell you all about Queer Brewing while you're tasting this gorgeous, delicious Pilsner that we've made. So we are a queer-owned brewery providing visibility and representation for LGBTQ plus people, using beer as a vehicle for social change. Our beers raise money for vital services and charities, and we work to make beer a little bit more approachable to those outside and a little more queer on the inside. With the help of our friends at Cloudwater Brewing, we're excited to bring you our own core range. This is what you're going to be tasting tonight. They're all brewed to balance approachability with full flavor and refreshment. And these three beers are for everyone, from the complete craft beer nerd to the newcomer. So I really hope you enjoy what we're going to do tonight. So we're starting on the Pilsner, Tiny Dots, 4.5%. And I'm sure you'll agree it's really easy drinking. I'm just going to take a sip. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie, guys. This is a lot. So as our copy on the beer says, this beer is a moment of refreshment in a busy life, a touch of calm in a world of noise, hopped with stars and Tettnang for light floral notes balanced on top of a classic Pilsner base. This is our take on a timeless style, brewed with approachability and accessibility in mind. Tiny dots on an endless timeline. We got any thoughts so far on the beer?
Don't be shy.
Light and fresh with lemony notes.
Yep. What's out of my
Mm. It is good. Yeah, it's one of my, I say it's one of my favorite ones. I like them all. So it is like the most simple and like the most accessible out of the three beers we made. Like most people kind of are exposed to drinking lager and Pilsner from a very early age. Who else was drinking like Foster's in the pub from like 16, 17? Yeah. Is that just me? So yeah, so this is our way of getting the non-craft beer people into the queer brewing world with what is just a really awesome lager. Any questions?
Everyone's gone shy. See, normally I don't get left alone when I have to present them in here.
Yeah.
What kind of hops do you use? You said Tettnang?
Yep, so this one is SARS and Tettnang.
Okay.
No, yeah, so they're.
Could you give us a bit more info on that?
We have a lot of
Sorry.
officers here this evening.
Well, Cloudwater make the beer for us. We don't actually have a brewery on site, so I haven't been physically involved there for the making of the beer. Obviously, with COVID, we can't all just go hang out at the brewery like we ordinarily would. But SARS and Tettnang are noble hops, if that's right. They are kind of traditional lager hops. Yeah, I've been working in beer for so long that this knowledge is like come and then gone. So I'm kind of pulling back like my hop nerd stuff.
Tend to get a lot of citrus from like SARS and Tettnang and the noble hops, sort of lemony, maybe a hint of lime, stuff like that.
You did. You did.
Yeah.
Citrus and that's exactly what I wrote. Tasting.
It's quite, I would imagine it's quite a straightforward malt base, so you get that like crispness, a little bit bready, a bit biscuity. Lots of people like to call them crispy boys now.
They do. They.
Really?
I dare say that.
I'm going to start calling it that.
Style.
Yeah.
So it's a lager.
Oh.
Specifically.
Oh, in fairness, I didn't know that either.
Everyone has tasting notes cards here, and one of the options to fill in is style.
Don't worry,
It's a
it's
bit
not a yes or
confusing
no
for some.
answer.
Is this a pale ale?
It's very nice. It's like I'm not a huge fan of lagers, but it is really like it is very light and fresh and doesn't feel too much like a beer in that sense.
Day drinking beer.
Yeah, it's a session
yeah.
beer. Yeah.
Summer girl. Summer girl.
Yeah. It's a morning. Yes, it's a morning. It's a breakfast beer. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely beer. But it's, yeah, it's not.
Is this a struggle for you to hear, Amanda?
Is that again?
Is this a bit of a struggle for you to hear people clearly?
I can hear the guy down here on the on my left.
I have been told my voice carries.
Yeah. You're also quite close to the screen.
I'm probably the closest loud voice to the thing as well.
So if anyone has something to say, please try to speak up a little bit, especially over that side, because that's a bit of a dead spot.
It's fine. I just won't speak.
When I was testing it earlier, over there, it's harder to hear people over here. But everyone over there doesn't want to talk, so it's fine.
So you've all got pints, so I feel like I need to talk to you for like the whole time you're drinking a pint, which is quite a lot of pints.
We've got tasters.
We've got a few little bitty third pints.
Very nice glasses as well.
So, how long have you been with Queer Brewing?
So I started doing like consultancy work for Lily back, well, last year sometime. She's a close friend. We've been friends for ages. And I've got years of experience with breweries. And so I'd be doing bits and pieces there. She'd call me up in a panic, being like, is this the right thing to do? And I go, I don't know, try it. And it's all worked so far. And then, yeah, about March this year, she asked me to come on and do some sales. So I do a couple of days a week. It's still very, very part-time. I'm also a yoga teacher, and I'm also getting back into freelance creative TV stuff as well. So it does suit me to be part-time and flexible, which is really nice.
Doesn't sound like you're short of something to do, no?
You say that, but I'm very quiet at the moment.
Anyone else got anything they want to ask? I think once the other beers get started, everyone will loosen up. Should we get the shots out first?
Pop a couple of bottles.
So we've only just started doing these sorts of things properly in our shop. We never used to have a full license. We only used to be an off license. When we did this, everyone used to get like a third, well, less than a third. We were only allowed to serve 110 ml measures as a taste test. So we used to do like 12, 15 beers in a. They never said how many you could do. They only told me I could do 110. So we used to do quite a lot.
First person fell over.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
Nice.
So now we're a little bit more restrained now.
But you've gone for full pints on like a tasting evening, which I'm really impressed with.
Well, we're doing the 3 beers, so I thought, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
normally we would do like a can or a half, and we do 6 or 7 maybe. But,
Mm.
yeah, we're all in.
Nice.
cheeky bottle monkey.
I'm gonna get the other beers out of the fridge in preparation to start putting them out on the table. If anyone else wants to ask Amber any random questions, nothing to do with beer, because look at the panic now.
Can you sing us a song?
And
Ignore him, he's the hired help.
can't-
Trying to get rid of him.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone.
I can't guarantee you'd enjoy it.
Where is your brewery?
Queer Brewing. We don't really exist as a brewery. We don't have a bricks and mortar site. At the moment, Cloudwater make our core range, and then everything else is a collaboration where Lily will go to a brewery and brew a beer with them, but it's their beer, and we've collaborated with them, and we kind of help them find somewhere for the proceeds to go. So at some point we will probably have a bricks and mortar brewery, just so we can have a lot more control over our own things. But at the moment, we're just relying on the very clever people at Cloudwater to do a very good job for us.
Where's Cloudwater?
Manchester. Sorry.
Have you ever thought of doing a collab with Gas Brewery?
We have done. We've done the first collaboration beer we did was a cask beer. It was called Queer Royale, and it was a blackcurrant pale ale, which we had on cask.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I didn't realise that was the first beer.
No.
Actually, that's a lie. But I think the first one was with Marble.
With who, sorry?
Oh, they've got one.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
got one.
I can count down.
I don't think she can pinpoint any pictures.
Someone's trying to clarify who the first
Why? Anyone want a fresh glass, or do you just want to use your lager?
Are you?
Yes,
Are you drinking the wit beer now?
we've just handed it out. We've still got a few people drinking the lager, but so we're
Okay.
passing off.
I mean, if you will,
I'm not going to nail this,
if you will,
but I'm going to go get the wit beer.
like, savor their pints.
Okay.
Body shots.
It's a wheat beer.
But-
Oh, was it wheat beer? Oh, that makes sense.
I can never remember it.
Who's in the lead?
I didn't know. I literally had that made no sense.
I was gonna say, I knew like a white beer, was like a white beer, but I didn't know what wit beer was.
That is dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You've never brought the
So,
glass in here.
I don't try flavour. So, not with the cold.
I know.
I'm trying something.
I find that
It's made me feel really sad. Like
Amber. If you want to follow her, she's be a bottle blonde on Twitter.
I refuse to have Twitter is not very nice.
Yeah, no, I tend not to go on Twitter.
Are we cracking flowers open?
I think most people are, yeah.
Flowery. Might be tasting flowery. Is everyone ready?
Everybody? I'm gonna get myself a whip for the next one.
Yeah.
Is everyone ready for me to talk about this bit?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So this is flowers. You've all got it in front of you. It's a lovely 4% wheat beer. I should know that. Yeah, 4% wheat beer. And it started life as Statement of Intent, which is the first collaboration Lily did with Cloudwater as part of the Wayfinder program that she did there. And this was brewed as an homage to one of her favourite beers, which is the Allagash White. Has anyone had that? Just the one there. Cool. So we wanted to replicate the complexity, the refreshment, and the approachable flavours in white, but at a lower ABV. So table strength beers are our favourite, broadly speaking. So a table strength Allagash White was the goal. We realised when it came to designing the core range that it needed a little bit more body, which a higher ABV could get. And also, table beers don't sell particularly well. People don't seem to buy 3% beers as much as they do 4 or 5. So we tweaked it, and Flowers was born. And this is the beer you've got in front of you. So I don't like wet beer, and I really like this. And it's the one that I request to be sent to me the most. I'm like, Lily, can you send me some more beer? And so this beer offers ripe, juicy orange, soft, almost like sweet sharp, foam banana, fruity notes, gentle citrus, and slightly zingy spice, and like a peppery character. And it's crisp, it's a little bit sweet, and it kind of, you just want to drink more of it. So get your nose in there, give it a good sniff, and then enjoy.
I couldn't tell what it was. This is that. Yeah, but that's what, so the flavouring that's used for those faux bananas is actually the same. It's the essence of an old type of banana that is not grown anymore. That's why those bananas don't taste like normal bananas, because they don't grow those kinds of bananas anymore.
Do you want him to repeat that fact? It might be good for your next talk. Come on, give the room that interesting fact.
Right, so the flavouring that's used in like banana flavoured things, it doesn't taste like normal bananas that you would normally buy and eat in the supermarket, and that's because I can't remember what the name of it was, but there was like a breed of banana that was made decades ago. That was the flavour base that was used. Those bananas aren't grown anymore, which is why the banana flavoured things don't taste like normal bananas, because you can't get those bananas anymore.
Yeah, because today's bananas are actually a hybrid grown from stock, which actually came from Chatsworth House. I've read that.
It came from because he was all bring it back to the bit.
What's two ginks in the room.
Are you doing it, Amber?
So the Gros Michel banana was the one but it went extinct due to its susceptibility to a fungus.
That's like the most sympathy I've ever had.
And then she
Let's give the world a banana flavour to die.
Oh, the one that I well, same as anything, is like you figure out.
So I think it's safe to say everyone picked up on the banana.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I wouldn't have picked up on the banana until someone else said it. As soon as they said it, I was like, yeah, that's what I'm tasting. It's banana.
Say again, guys.
Is the banana, does the banana flavour come from the yeast strain that you use, or cloudwater? Or where does the flavour come from?
I think that I'm trying to work out where the banana thing.
It comes from
The banana thing comes from the yeast, and it's an ester, it's a leftover flavour.
Yeah, it's a traditional marker of like a wheat beer. Yeah, wheat beers. A lot of the German and Belgian ones all have that banana, like really upfront in it. Some people often perceive it as bubble gum as well.
Yeah.
A mix of like clove and banana gives you a sort of bubble gum effect.
That doesn't make sense, but okay.
That's what it is. Bubble gum is a combination of various things. There's a weird thing that I could never remember the name of, and you can actually mix clove and something else that gives you that. What they say, bubble gum flavor. I've got it written down somewhere because it's in a beer recipe that I came up with, but I've never made yet. We've all gone
Any
quiet.
questions?
Anyone else got any questions?
Yes, Amber. Is that all of your houseplants behind you? And if so, what are they?
It's a viscous rubber.
There's 3 more that you can't see that are just on my windowsill where my cat is as well.
Show cats, please.
There she is. They're very, very hot.
Okay, follow-up question. What's your cat's
So
name?
this is okay. For those who are into whiskey, her name's Bunnahaven. For those who aren't into whiskey, her name's Bunny.
Oh.
That means starting.
And I would pick her up and show her to the camera, but she hates being picked up and she's really hot.
People who like dogs.
Bait.
Ignore him. Ignore
I didn't hear what was said, I'm sorry.
Never mind.
So this room is kind of deliberately quite photogenic because this is where I film all my yoga, because I do online classes. So it's kind of at that angle that people see. So yeah, there are a lot of plants in that corner. And there are lots of plants in the bedroom, lots of plants in the living room, lots of plants in the bathroom, and then a garden.
Well, if your classes are all online, feel free to give it a plug. You might get some online customers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So my yoga company is called Inclusive Asana. So again, all designed around inclusivity, whether that's gender, orientation, body type, fitness level, mobility level. I kind of welcome everyone and tailor my classes to suit every person. So that's.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's
I did.
Googling you now.
Do you ever combine yoga and beer?
You can't really drink. You can't drink anything fizzy at the same time as doing yoga because once you go up into like a downward dog or any kind of inversion, it gets burpy. I did a Christmas cocktail boozy online yoga. I was trying to drink like Kir Royale while teaching, and I was like, I'm gonna be fit.
Did anybody
No, I just
in hospital treatment?
Now I just have images of people trying to drink eggnog and do a downward dog, and it's just like, no, that's not going to work.
You have to make sure you do that.
Downward nog?
Yes,
That's amazing.
Everyone's looking at your pictures at this end of the room. Various poses, they're all impressed. I'll just give a commentary of what's happening.
Thank you.
And everyone's gone quiet and sat still now.
Well, to break the silence, I'm going to pop the toilet.
You have to be drinking
Has any kind of beer industry questions? I've worked for various people in various roles. So I've been in the industry for about 6 years, working in international distribution and operations and stuff. So if anyone wants to know anything,
How do I convince all people to come to the Isle of Man for a beer festival?
Yes.
it won't take much convincing, babe. Just invite us and we'll come.
I invited one, and they said not until it's like of a certain size.
What size?
Let's just say they were talking about the equivalent of like Indie Man, and I was like, that's not
No,
gonna happen.
we can't run anything that big over here. But we have a wonderful beer festival every April. So, you know, we can get the beers if we can't get you guys. If you bring us a beer and tasting notes, then
Yeah.
push your beers, you know what I mean? And it gives all these lovely people here a chance to try them. And we do look after them. We have technical cooling and
Who you
everything.
call lovely?
Oh, I said over here. No.
Off camera, no.
Not out to be seen.
Angela is one of the guys who organises the Camera Beer Festival on the Isle of Man and helps look after all the beers. She's very passionate about it.
Yeah, very passionate about beer. And
Amazing.
quality of beer and good condition of beer.
That's awesome. But yeah, if you want us to come to the Isle of Man, we all really like camping at Queer Brewing, and we quite like going to Finefest as well.
Oh, you're
We're
fully
going to
set.
do a Finefest equivalent on the Isle of Man.
Festival and run
If you like camping,
If you like
No,
Fine
no,
Fest,
no,
you're
no,
in
no,
for,
no, no,
we've
no.
got the midges, we've got the bad weather. So you'll love it if you like Fine Fest.
She's in Wales, she's used to bad weather.
So we've got a beautiful venue with 400 red velvet seats, absolutely wonderful beer festival with great views,
Ooh.
looking at the bay and everything. It's absolutely amazing. So if you could come over and perhaps Chris would give you a bit of space on his bar for your beers, that'd be great.
Yeah, that sounds great. If you give us enough time, we could also get in touch with a cask brewery and brew a specific beer on cask for.
Oh,
We are cask drinkers.
yeah, Cass will be good.
That's what I say. I was like, is there cask available? Can I have a pint?
Do you just do beer, or do you ever do any wines or anything?
Personally, I really enjoy not knowing that much about wine because I know so much about beer, and I'm really fussy. I'm like, if I go to a normal pub, I'm like, I'll just have a gin and tonic, because even like tasting stuff, I'm like, well, that's soft. That line hasn't been cleaned.
Oh yeah.
And like it almost saps the enjoyment out of it, like knowing too much about it. So I tend to keep wine as quite an ignorant subject. I know I've got my favourites, but honestly, £6 bottle of Sauvignon Blanc, fine.
Have a little swell. It's like, yeah, that's red. I like it. Yeah.
Can I just swear everyone in the room to secrecy that we never talk about wine?
That's like the third rule of
I was
Fight
thinking
Club.
of home.
Along the lines of wine, what about cider?
That was going to be my question. Yeah, what about cider?
So Lily's very into cider. We are releasing a mixed super fancy cider soon. I can't remember who we've brewed it with. I can probably look up the document, but that would mean I'm staring at my computer for a few minutes.
Little Pomona. Can I guess at Little Pomona?
It might be.
Because I think
It might be.
I think she wrote about them for Guppy Hunted.
Possibly, yeah.
Might be wrong.
I'm laughing so much my glasses keep steaming up. But yes, I personally am a bit funny with cider. I will I'll go for like a bottle of the 7% stuff you can buy in Tesco. That makes me happy. And you can like really scrumpy or really intense. Not quite for me. But I do like the very posh Olivers and all that, like proper cider is good.
Over on the Isle of Man, we've got 3 cider makers at the moment. The most popular one currently isn't producing anything. They're rebuilding their facility. But they also make apple juice. And apparently we've got one of their web employees here as well. That is actually normally our biggest selling cider in the shop, but as we can't get any, everyone's buying Hulks instead.
Working on a new one at the moment.
Oh,
You back up and running again? They are hoping to be up and running by the second part of apple season this year. They are currently building the
I've seen a lot of building on Instagram.
I've spoken so much about stones this year. Yeah, they're building the actual building now. We're getting very so it should be ready for this year. They hope so. Fingers crossed.
Just to give you an idea of what we're talking about.
You know, the containers other than bottles.
I will ask.
That'd be great.
They won't. I've
No,
tried.
I don't know. If it's recyclable, they're all about recycling and sustainability.
I've tried to get them to fill. I've tried to get them to fill kegs for me.
That's
They will
recyclable.
literally only
Very
do bottles.
recyclable.
They will
And
only
they're
do
more
bottles.
environmentally friendly. It's large quantity, less
I've told them I offer to pay good cash money and give them the keg. We're just having a little chat here.
It's a shame they can't be with us.
Fine. I thought I'd let you know that
the company we're
the cider we're releasing. Sorry,
first.
the cider we're releasing is a pet nat cider from Ross Cider, so it should be very lovely.
We were just talking about a company called the Apple Orphanage we have on the Isle of Man. So they make fruit juices and cider, but they have what they call a fruit exchange. So you take your fruit along to them, they take it off you and give you juice or cider in return, and they take away the fruit and they make their products from it.
That's awesome.
All that. But yes, they refuse to put anything in kegs. That's why I'm a bit pissed.
Yeah, me too. Because I love it at the beer festival.
Oh my god.
We'll have to come and all do a presentation.
Just get some corny kegs and
Because are they those boxes of plastic?
No, the reason they won't do it is because they invested a lot in their bottling machine. They won't focus. And the government paid for a third of it. So.
They are very expensive.
Hopefully cider will go back into the reusable plastic tubs, because we use it at Great British Beer Festival. All the cider used to be in reusable plastic tubs. You just like washed them out and refilled them. Then they all went bag in box because that was more fashionable.
We've opened the can of worms for the cider discussion.
Well, I think the best thing you can do with plastic is to make it into something that doesn't have to be recycled, because every time you recycle plastic, it makes it a little bit less weaker and less good quality.
It still has to be produced. Single-use plastic, it's bad, no matter what it is. I mean, I'm even though Camera are pro PK, personally, I'm very anti PK because they are big lumps of single-use plastic.
Yes.
So
every time you use one, it has to be recycled and you have to build a new one.
I also have an opinion on key keg.
We obviously, the Pilsner has come in a poly keg. I'll let you make whatever point.
Oh, has it come in a poly keg? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, poly keg with a key keg.
Yes, so no, I agree with with key cake, it is technically recyclable, but no one in this country was recycling. But massive shout out to Jolly Good Beer, who are our favourite distributor, because they are a key cake recycling point and they break down the kegs into all their component parts. Key cakes are also really good for gardening. So I don't know if any of you are keen gardeners, but you can use them as cloches to protect.
Yeah, but we were so big, you know, I have a garden, but I could only use about 3 or 4 key cakes, and there's more than that.
You can go, if you go to the brewery.
I know.
All of them.
Yeah, you know, to me, that is not
I've got
the
loads.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm very much pro using steel kegs. But then again, with steel keg, you have the issues of emissions coming back and forth. So it's kind of, at the moment, it's a bit of this. They've both got pros, they've both got cons, but I'm completely on your side of the single-use plastic.
No, gas are completely reusable. There is no gas or electricity used in getting the product from the cask to the glass. So surely cask is the way.
But it's more the emissions on transporting cask and having them cleaned than anything else.
We probably are.
Every key cake has to be made every single time you're making a new.
Yeah.
So
We are
I agree.
for emissions here on the Isle of Man than anywhere else.
Gone by sea.
So everything has to be shipped.
Yeah, everything literally comes across the sea. In terms of key keg, I know, well as Jolly Good Beer, there's a few places in Manchester that are now recycling them. And my day job is with the local Douglas Borough Council, and I happen to be quite friendly with the guys in the cleansing department who do all the recycling, and they are currently trying to find a way that we can do it for the Isle of Man, so we can get all the key kegs together.
So I feel like I'm being ignorant here, and I'm hoping other people, what is a key cake?
And I will get one. I will get one.
Everybody's just nodding along again. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask the question if anyone else did.
There you go. There's the key keg twin.
Right.
That's a key keg.
And so the one below is a normal.
Yes, so you've got a steel keg underneath, and that's the key keg on top. So basically, it's a bag inside a pressurized plastic vessel.
Right.
The air does not go into the beer; it goes into the space between the outside and the bag.
So it basically
squeezes the bag and feeds it out.
Is it strong plastic?
Yes, because that can hold up to about 30 to 40 psi.
Right.
That is for them. We only use key kegs in that because it's easier for us. We have our steel kegs coming with that.
But rather than being like,
it's just pressurized.
like your Heineken and your John Smith Smith.
So
it is real beer inside there.
right.
So similar to a cask, it has that same effect, no extraneous extraneous air inside the beer.
But you do need something to put air into that to squash it to get the beer to come out.
Yeah.
Where
So am I right in thinking that like there's a certain amount of pressure in it to begin with, but when you hook it up, you basically hook up a pressurized vessel to it so that it continues to it. Yeah, so it continues to apply pressure to it the whole
If you want to
time.
actually see how it works,
Okay.
so basically we have gas, not that soda stream bottle, but if you take that, it's got a regulator on. That runs down into each of those beer lines via on the right hand
Can you
side
see
there.
out where he's opened the fridge?
I'm doing the kegerator talk.
I don't. I'm not interested. I'm sorry. I know too much about this.
So basically, the gas squeezes the bag, the beer gets pushed, and the beer comes out the taps. Yeah, that's the principle.
How do you carbonate the beer, Chris? If the gas doesn't touch the beer, how do you
They
carbonate?
can do that naturally. How did you want to take that one? How do you carbonate the beer that goes into a key keg if you're not forcing gas into it?
Either during fermentation, CO2 is created, or you'll force carb a beer. So I don't know that much about packaging. I've never been a brewer. I've never been a packaging person. I've done every other job that doesn't involve direct production. So I can't really answer any technical questions.
Basically, every beer has a sort of volume of CO2 it should have in it to give it a certain mouthfeel, a certain characteristic. With key kegs, they tend to have a big pressurized vessel, and they will specifically force carb it to the right pressure and put it in the key keg. Some people will put live beer in the key keg, which means there's still a little bit of active yeast in there. It'll carry on fermenting in the keg, so it will naturally carbonate, and you can calculate how much yeast that needs to be. And then that is the same as you would do with a cask. That makes it real ale.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact you can't vent them, but we'll not go down that road.
You have to get your calculations spot on.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Otherwise it goes boom in the night.
Yeah. Also, you can't vent them, and
Well, you could.
There are ways to vent
So
them, but
just
it's
to
very
confirm, so that's the
you cannot let air in. You can only take the CO2 out. You cannot put oxygen into those bags.
No, not into the back.
Into the back. No.
It's still okay.
Yes. So
Yes.
so the steel keg, the difference is a gas puddles from the keg.
You don't need to only do
But this is a two-way process. It lets the CO2 out.
So are we ready for the next beer yet?
That's what you
Yeah, so
It's like sunrise on the top.
we're going to start handing out the next can, Amber, while the debate rages about keg, keg.
I've already got it here, so I'm ready to do it. But I don't have a free glass.
Does anyone need a fresh glass?
I do, please. Simon, oh, got one.
We can see how that works.
Yeah, back in the office.
Do you know, I had a really random memory yesterday.
Almost every time you have a quick shower and go for a walk.
Is one of you Pippa Townley?
That's me. Why? What about
Hi, you follow me?
I think most of us followed you.
Hands up, I told them all your Twitter handle.
that was on Instagram.
Oh, on Instagram.
Oh, Insta,
Is it the same? Handle?
Yeah, sorry, I'll find you on Insta.
I wondered if it was it the
It didn't
same.
take a lot.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, bottle.
Can you just take one?
Did you finish your wit?
Yeah.
You got your wit.
Yes, that's the last bit. That's the
Yeah,
last
I like how the top of your Instagram no longer blonde. I did think that before.
Are you near one? Yeah. So when I set that up, I was blonde, and then it was no longer relevant. But it's my name on Twitter and Instagram, so I can't change it.
Oh yeah, me.
Right, this one's here. Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
Definitely worked that.
Okay. Yeah, it
It's literally black to me.
I'm already following you. I was already following you. There you go.
So I'm going to take a mid-interval sort of feedback session here. How's this working for you, Amber, as a whole room of people around camera?
It's fine. I can't hear a lot of stuff. I mean, the mic does cut out when there's a lot of people talking, but that's kind of expected. But otherwise, it's not as terrifying as I thought. But I do teach on Zoom like every day, so I'm quite used to people staring at me, expecting me to tell them to do something.
Yeah, but how much do they talk back at you?
They're all on mute, babe. I've got control of that.
Yeah.
I bet you all miss this microphone.
You're probably lucky your other half was actually going to be the first person to do this a little while ago.
Oh, really? He is downstairs recording a podcast, so there's a lot of like beer internet tech going on in the house right now.
Yeah.
We were actually about to get a pallet of beer. Well, we're organising it when the last lockdown on the Isle of Man. So we had to put a pause on everything. But he was actually going to be the first one to do this. So we've been trying to work out a way of doing it. Because obviously bringing people over is not always feasible. But this is our stab at getting something sorted. We've had a lot of YouTube ones where people just watch and drink along. But we want to have something a little bit more interactive.
Yeah.
He's operating recording, obviously.
There's a very he's talking technicals now, and he's going to get shut down because I do this for a living.
It's going to get expensive.
I do this for a living. I work for the local council, so I have to live stream meetings during lockdown stuff. So this has been thought about a lot. Trust me.
Give me a boom light, and you can put a card reader on the end, so you can do the contact us thing.
Because unfortunately, we get a feedback loop because the sound is quite. So you have to have someone to combine my. I'll stop now because it's all going to get very IT. I think we've got most people have got a beer, but there's a few just are either vaping, toilet, or cigarette, or whatever.
I really like it.
Just generally fanning around.
It is gorgeous colours on this one, isn't it?
It's genuinely one of my favourite pale ales of like the last year.
What's the podcast about?
Really? Oh, that's great to know.
I'm going to finish one first.
Yeah, as I say, you've got. I can't want to go at the main line.
I've got a What's the podcast about?
And
Can you tell us more about the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
the guys want to know what podcast.
I don't know how this happens, but like every dude that I hope they can't hear me. Every dude that does a podcast wants Aaron to feature on it. So he's done like 3 in the past week, and I just walk past and make comments as I go. Because
He's all
I've
about the
been
hair.
in longer than he has, and I'm like, say this, say this.
It's all about the hair. That's why everyone wants him.
Yeah, he's just a big walking hairstyle, but he's fun.
Like,
I'm going to check.
I think we're waiting on one person to come back in the room.
Well, I definitely need to go.
Are they vaping? Are they vaping?
Now, should we?
Jen was smoking and Mum was vaping.
This is a minor technical bit.
I was thinking about
There's a lot of jibber jabber.
It'll get broken like the other one.
Are we all in existence?
Almost.
We're just waiting for a couple of people to come back.
You ready?
Okay.
Cool. So,
In fact, you know what?
okay.
I don't approve of it. Carry on. Just go.
Before I explain the next beer, I'm going to explain.
She did say she.
We're just reiterating the names of the beers. People are making notes.
Okay.
the car properly.
Did you say that? You said it a minute, can't you?
I really love these textured cans.
Yeah, they have really nice names.
It's called
This is the prettiest one for sure.
So this beer is Existence, which is short for Existence as a Radical Act.
Sorry, what's the short?
So you can all note that down.
Oh, okay.
First word, yeah.
Existence, which is yes.
You're not practicing.
Are we still waiting?
Just me now.
Question everything. Did you get tickets for next year's Fine Fest?
I think you could probably try this.
What was that, sorry?
Did you manage to get tickets for next year's Fine Fest?
Did I?
Yes.
I don't need to get tickets. I'm on the guest list, guys.
Sorry, staff question. Yes. But the thing is, on the island, it clashes with TT, which is a local race. So
Yeah. I know the TT.
yeah, so it's difficult for us to get off island sometimes.
Yeah,
We should all be watching. We should have all been watching the bike race today.
Right. Oh, guys, just so you know, when you talk, it starts cutting out, and then I can't then continue my sentence. It all goes a bit weird. Just so you know, like if I was there, we'd be able to make a right noise, but I'm relying on technology. So before I start talking about this beer, I need to tell you something like about Lily and the way she interacts with the world as a like trans queer woman. And there's obviously a huge kind of fashion with the emergence of drag race, which has been going on and it's massive, and lots of like yes, queen, rainbow, capitalism, pride. And like here at Queer Brewing, we fucking hate pride. Like it's just this, not as a concept. We're here for pride being a protest, but what we don't like is rainbow capitalism, which is why you will never see a rainbow on any of our cans. And so existence, the original name was Rainbows Aren't for Everyone. And it was the second of the Cloudwater collaborations. And this is our take on an American hazy pale ale. And I don't know, how many of you, have any of you met Lily, or do you follow Lily on social media? She's very metal. She's very like hardcore. She's awesome, but yeah, there are no rainbows about any of us. We're like taking like queer into the black metal route. So when we've got this beer, we were like, nope, no rainbows. Well, with all of our beer. God, I've had a pint. So this is a hazy American pale in the vein of Daya's Steady Rolling Man or Northern Monk's Faith. We wanted this to be effortlessly drinkable, full flavored, and again, super approachable. We used a kvike yeast to punch up the fruitiness. The tangerine notes in this are very much from the yeast, and tweaked the recipe a little when turning it into existence, but not by much. I didn't know this, or Lily's given me stuff to say. So the name, by the way, is from a poem I wrote and references how when you're queer or trans, your very existence is radical act in a hostile society. So that's where it comes from. So yeah, does people know what kvike yeast is, or would you like to know more about that?
Yes,
please.
Yes, please.
So kvike yeast is a Norwegian farmhouse yeast that works really quickly. It can be a little bit volatile, so it takes like a slick brewer to know how to control it. We used it a lot in my old brewery. I used to work for Burnt Mill. And we used kvike quite a lot because we liked what it did to our beers. But yes, as our tasting notes in this one says, the biggest of our core range, existence offers notes of tangerine, mango, passion fruit, lime, and pineapple. And they're all wrapped up in this lovely soft pale ale. A touch of yeast character presents alongside the fruit and soft body, combining to create an incredibly drinkable beer.
Approachable.
One question here from the back. Sorry, one question from the back. I'm just getting started with the Norwegian yeast, and they're absolutely fascinating. I was cleaning it up off the floor at 5:30 this morning. Which one do you use to get those kind of fruit flavors? Because there's lots of different strains, isn't there?
I'm not sure which exact strain it is. It's probably something Cloudwater's developed themselves. And is it like a house kvike yeast, but I couldn't tell you exactly which one it is, unfortunately. I'm
going to be really super geeky.
No, not
the predominant flavour is tangerine. It's probably Voss, yeah. Or a variation for pop. I'll go in the corner.
Never had you down as a geek, Chris.
To be incredibly nerdy, do we know how long this Norwegian yeast has been around?
Yeah. You've just been asked how long it's been around for. I can
as an
again.
So the lovely Claire Bullen from Good Beer Hunting wrote an article on kvike yeast. I can reference it now and see, but otherwise I'd advise you to look it up. Like I said, I'm not a technical brewer. I'm not that nerdy when it comes to yeast.
Actually,
don't know the ins and outs. But because it's a farmhouse yeast,
it's a long time. They use a thing called a little wooden thing that looks like a vertebrae, which is a kvike ring, and they've been handed down through generation and generation. Basically, they put the wooden ring into the beer, and then take it out and hang it up. They carry on brewing. The next time they want to use the yeast, they put the wood back in, so the wood saves the yeast. And obviously, time.
So it's kind of like a sourdough mother in a way.
Yeah, that's a great way of thinking about it. And there's loads of different variations.
I used to be a baker at Noah.
So these ancient yeasts are kind of more like happy accidents that kept going. It's the same in Europe when you'd have like the big paddles, and in the UK as well. Like yeast is on every thing. It's in the air. You can make something ferment just by leaving it outside. So it's only when like science comes along that people go, oh, we're going to give this yeast a name, and then you can isolate the strain and then you can develop it.
So basically what you're saying, it's been hanging around since the Vikings.
See what you just did there? I do that at least 25 times a day.
Dad jokes. Basically, just senior male joke.
No.
So,
Yeah, no, when you work in beer, your life is just dad jokes and just making really niche like yeast jokes and hop jokes and malt jokes. Yeah, it's quite nice not to work in an office with other people anymore. Whose jokes are any other questions?
Any offers?
Any offers for?
You've called this pale ale. Now, obviously, pale ale is a very old-fashioned traditional style of ale. It doesn't really bear that much resemblance to pale ale, even though it's a damn good beer. Why not go for something, you know, a bit more original, a bit more descriptive of what it is, rather than just pick an old-fashioned name that doesn't really suit.
So what we're doing with this core range of beers is making it accessible. So if we called it something like a hazy strong ale, then like the average person picking up a can in the shop isn't going to know what it is. Whereas if you call it a pale ale, they go, oh, I've heard of that. And even though someone who's a bit more knowledgeable on the subject will go, oh, I know that this is made with Fikey, so it's going to be hazy. And it's one of those things, just try and simplify it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not what it says on the can, though. It's not written pale ale, is it? You know, that's what I'm saying. It just says pale ale on the front. Yeah, but
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Norwegian pale ale would be good. Yeah, Norwegian pale ale would be good, but just to say pale ale, I'd expect pale ale.
But it wouldn't be a Norwegian pale ale because it's not made in a Norwegian style. It's just made using Norwegian yeast. It's an American a hazy American pale ale made using Norwegian yeast.
Hazy American pale ale on the front of the can.
Not quite as catchy though, is it?
Yeah.
Because in my letter it says pale ale would come out the can. You think, oh, that's weird. But yeah, American pale, that's excellent. Yes, thank you, that gets
I've got a special guest for everyone.
Oh, yes, okay. I see the hair now. Yeah.
Everyone has just recognised the hair.
You want the
I was thinking like traditional North. Anyway.
Does anyone have any questions for my lovely partner, Aaron from Polly's Brewing? Polly's Brew Co, sorry.
Tell me, what approach do you use?
Wash and go, wash and go.
What hair products do I use?
Yeah, it's the Tresemme that comes in the white can. That's what, like, every morning I'm like, babe.
Is the can to keep it fresh?
No, that's the best one.
In the fridge.
Hi Aaron, I'm Chris. I'm the one who emailed you.
Nice. That's Chris up there.
Hi Chris, how's it going?
So you were supposed to be the first one. So I'm piloting this arrangement, and you were supposed to be the first one, but it's me instead.
Aren't we a comedy duo?
No. Yeah, they did meet Bunny as well because she was.
Or not?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
They want to know what
What was
Aaron's
that?
drinking.
What am I drinking?
Yeah.
I am drinking a beer that we canned this afternoon called Dream Mate. It's a Galaxy IPA.
Galaxy IPA.
So half the room know what that is and is super excited. The other half are wondering what it is.
That's not an IPA. Like the lady in the corner that's in question me on my pale ale. It's even hazier than my one.
Looks good.
So,
Alright, so what's Galaxy Pale Ale then?
they would like to know
No,
what
Easier.
and any more questions before he runs away?
Sorry?
Any more questions before he runs away?
No, some of us want to know what Galaxy Pale Ale is.
Oh, so Galaxy is the hop, and it's yeah, so it's just a pale ale like this one. Like my one, which we're talking.
We've got one head.
There's some shaking of the heads.
We've got one head in hands, and everyone else is smiling.
So I was going to ask. So I don't know much, obviously, about your brewery. So again, question for the man with the beautiful hair. Could you tell me more about your brewery then? Seeing as we've learned a lot more about queer brewing, what's going on with your brewery then? Tell me about yours.
Where do I start?
Well, they're based in a town in North Wales called Mold.
Oh yeah.
And then
Oh, that is a fun guy.
I've been in the pub, but not.
It is.
When Aaron asked me to come and live with him, I said yes, but as long as we don't live in Mold, because I can't tell people from London that I live in Mold.
Where do you live?
Live in Hope, just down the road.
Near Mold.
Can you not just open a window?
Yeah, it's a little kind of farmhousey-ish, but not farmhouse beers. Everything's clean. Set in the countryside. It's lovely.
Holly's is one of the breweries that's been on our hit list since we opened the shop here, which is why we've been trying to do it for a little while.
Hit list. You trying to take them out?
I think we have to go on holiday to the Isle of.
That's fine. Douglas is nice.
2 hours swim from Wales.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Or a 4-hour jet ski ride. Yeah.
Long way round.
There were a few in jokes.
Anything else?
In case you were wondering what was going
Well,
on.
you make national news, I'm sure they're aware.
You may have heard like a story during the lockdown where a man rode a jet ski from Scotland to the Isle of Man to visit a woman he'd met while he was working over there during the lockdown.
Hello.
He was in love.
No,
Yeah.
there's a lot of talk about drug dealing and stuff that doesn't make the press.
Yeah. Oh, the woman that he came over to see has actually recently been done for assault. Yeah.
Not quite as romantic as everyone else.
And they broken up.
Oh yeah, they broke up. Oh, they're very broken up.
So there you've got the full local gossip as well.
Yeah.
I bet you can't wait to visit now.
We have a museum with the jet skiing.
I don't know if you heard that. I hope you did. One of our guests just commented that there is now a museum with the jet skiing. Obviously, we're in the Isle of Man. There's not a lot to do.
I get it, I think. Right. Any questions before I send him away to make us dinner?
Yeah, they don't want to visit now.
They haven't got jet skis.
We'll come on holiday.
Oh, sorry, we missed that.
I said we'll come and visit. We'll come on holiday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perhaps next year when TT might actually be on.
No,
This
come
is
for the beer festival.
Go to the beer festivals. Yeah.
I've got an Airbnb.
You pay your taxes though.
We're in the Isle of
Oh
Man.
no. Oh
That's why he's here.
We're not Greece.
yeah.
Do people take taxes?
Right, I'm not going to hijack you.
Yeah.
Meet the brewer.
Go make dinner.
We'll go make dinner.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh, I like his socks. He's got strong
You like his what?
socks. Amber, get your mind out of the gutter.
He's my boyfriend.
So I think what we've learned is that mishearing things can be just as much entertainment as drinking beer.
I'd say the two on they're mutually they're not mutually exclusive. I'd say that one against the other. Yeah.
So has anyone got any more questions?
Can I ask about the cans? Like, so, like I've said it multiple times now. I really love these textured cans. Like, how do you choose like the designs? How do you? Is it? I know it's.
Yeah. Do you have someone that designs them like exclusively for the Queer Brewing?
Yeah. So Lily's partner Charlotte, or Chesney as we call her, she designs all the cans and the merch. We had our logo designed by someone else whose name I can't remember, but yeah, she designed all of these, and all of these are based on Lily's photos. So Lily's also a photographer as well as being a ceramicist and a writer, and like she's amazing.
Yeah, we want to pick her up. She was also Beer Writer of the Year this year.
Wow.
That killed the conversation.
Do you reckon if you're Beer Writer of the Year, they send you loads of free samples?
Oh, I hope so.
I don't know. I've never been Beer Writer.
It's looking quite interesting to become next year. I mean, what are the incentives?
Oh yeah,
So in regard to free samples, I was a beer buyer for many years. So it was my job to taste it.
Oh my days.
And it gets very old very quickly. And they start going down the sink very quickly, and you start giving them to people that you don't like very quickly. This is something really good that you know you're going to drink, but you get sent a lot of unsolicited beer when you're a buyer for a distribution company, or when you're someone like Matt Curtis or Lily. People are like, "Can I send you beer?" And they find your address, and then they just send it.
There's a certain time of the year when if you follow these guys on Instagram and Twitter, you'll see a lot of beer suddenly they go, "Who wants this?" Or there's lots of pictures of going, "We got given this, but."
Yeah. There was a bit of interference with that question.
Okay. I think he said that quietly on purpose.
Never mind, you're not listening.
I think he said that quietly on purpose. Probably best you didn't hear. Just for a general beer industry situation.
Okay.
You said you used to work at Burnt Mill. What did you do there?
I was the operations manager. Sadly, I was made redundant last summer because of COVID. But I again started working there through consultations. So I used to buy beer from Burnt Mill, and buying beer from them was quite a difficult thing, and I needed to know why it was so difficult to buy beer from a brewery. So I went in and essentially ironed out all their processes, and then they went, "Well, do you just want to work here and sort this all out for us?" So I was like, yeah, okay. So I did that, and sadly was only there for about 6 months before everything went to shit. But I'm still really good friends with Sophie. who is amazing, and they're a really lovely brewery. So, are they on the shelves behind you? Do you have Bent Milling?
We have
We have
the Baltic Porter, or we actually did have. Yes, I'm looking at it now. And we have occasionally Pint Hall, and we have a few of the IPAs. We do have some customers that really like them.
That's me.
And that's one over there putting his hand up.
What's that noise?
But we will get as much of that as possible, because I have one very wealthy customer who absolutely loves them. But as you
Tell their sales guy. Sorry, say that again.
As you said, it's difficult to buy beer from them.
Surely not now. She sorted it out.
No, we've also got.
I don't work there anymore.
We've got the complexity of the sea between here
That is true. That is true.
and a very.
Yeah, you're best to be setting something up with Jolly Good Beer, because they're the most reliable
I tried that.
kind of distributor.
No,
Sorry.
No. We've got tricks and means. I've spoke with Ivan a few times with Jolly Good Beer. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's lovely.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I've got one. Yeah. So you've got like 3 at the minute, don't you? So is there any chance of like another one coming out soon, or any plans for another one?
Yes, so we've got various beers that we collaborate with other breweries on. So there are a couple out at the moment. We've got one that's an barrel-aged Imperial Porter that we made with salt called By Fieri, which is an imperial version of Flavor Town, which they made last year. So that's out. I do have a can in my fridge, but I can't bother to go downstairs to show you what it looks like. And we've got another one that we made with Abbeydale and Out and Out, that are a LGBTQ society out in Sheffield, and it's our kind of homage to Schofferhofer. Yeah, so it's a grapefruit radler that we made. So we're constantly making new beers with people. In regards to our core range, because we have limited kind of access time with the brew kit, or being able to contract our beers at Cloudwater, we are just keeping it at the 3, and until we set up new contracts with different breweries or find another solution, it's probably just going to stay at kind of this manageable level before we step it up a bit, and then it all goes busy.
3 beers, obviously I know Cloudwater brew them for you, but whereas your other ones are collaborations, so it's kind of you and them deciding how the beer's going to be. Is this basically you decide what the beer's going to be, and it's just that Cloudwater, they just put the ingredients in and make it? Is that the difference?
Yeah.
These are the collaborations.
Well, so Existence and Flowers are based on collaborations Lily did with Cloudwater, in the same way where Lily would go into a brewery, they'd create a beer together. I mean, when you do a collab with a brewery, you spend a lot of time talking about what you're going to make and what ingredients you use, and then you have the brew day where you pull everything together. And I mean, a brew day is just an opportunity to like throw some stuff in a mash tun and then get drunk in the morning.
An hour and a half of drinking, isn't it?
Yeah, I love a brew day. I did one at Polly's in March for International Women's Day, which was just me and Lally, and it was great. So Flowers and Existence were based on collabs that Lily already did, but I think with the Pilsner we just said this is what we want, and then there may have been like several pilots that happened. I'm not entirely sure what that process was, but it's Lily very good at knowing what she wants from a beer, and so she just tells their head of production what's going on, and then it gets sorted.
So how do you go about choosing like breweries or whatever to collaborate with, in terms of like the kind of main point of the thing is like the queer brewing? Like how do you just like approach people that you like the look of, or like in terms of like what they've done on like in terms of brewing stuff, or do you kind of wait for people to talk to you and say we want to work together? Or
So being being in the craft beer industry is really, really fun. You get to go to festivals and essentially hang out with your mates for weekends, and there's lots of amazing friendships that exist. And so initially a collaboration might start off with a friendship, where you're just like having a beer and it's like, hey, let's brew a beer together, and you're like, yeah, let's definitely do that, and then that's how you get the ball rolling. Quite a lot we do get emailed by breweries being like, hey, we really want to collaborate with you, and then we kind of have a look at the brewery, work out if it would be suitable. One thing we're going to be bringing in the next few months is a charter of kind of how we want people to act, how we want people to treat their staff, and how we want people to present to the world. And the breweries that we work with need to sign up with this charter before we go in a collaboration with them and do kind of this charity raising or fundraising thing that we do when we do a collaboration.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was meaning, was like how they, obviously it's no good just going with any old brewery, you want someone that's got the same.
Obviously, you said you're bringing in a charter, but at the moment you don't have that, doesn't currently exist. I assume that what will become the charter is what you're currently looking for, but what are those specific values that you're currently, when you're picking a brewery to collaborate with, what are you looking for?
So if you look at kind of the breweries that we've collaborated with in the past, so you've got people like Abbey Dale who, I mean, I don't know Abbey Dale that well, but they are good guys. They treat their staff well. They're not homophobic, which is a really basic requirement. Other people, like, I'm just having a look through our collaboration list. So one of the early ones we did was with Brick. And Brick are a great brewery in London. They've got great staff. They look after their staff, which is another thing really important. And they want to get behind queer brewing as a concept, and that's the important thing. When you've got like bigger breweries like Brick, Cloudwater, sorry, not Brick, Salt. Have you all heard of Salt? They're based up in Yorkshire, and their head brewer is a guy called Colin, who used to be the head brewer at Northern Monk, who used to be the head brewer at Buxton, who used to be the head brewer at Marble. Like his trajectory through the industry is amazing.
He ruined my day once with a couple of imperial stouts at 10:30 in the morning.
He's ruined all of our days like that.
No, it sounds like your day was just getting started.
Yeah, we do mostly collaborate with people that we know, who we consider friends and who we consider allies. And if someone new were to come in that we didn't know, then it would be like we would have to assess kind of the basic requirements of being.
Yeah, there was a quiet comment about one of our local breweries, shall we say, that wouldn't quite qualify.
Yeah.
I understand.
Anyone else?
So besides, like, obviously the beers, like, what as a company, like, what do you do to like try and get the message out there about queer brewing generally, like in terms of more like general society stuff?
And we are quite fortunate in that people who follow us on social media do a lot of the shouting about us for us, if that makes sense. So Lily's amazing. She does a lot of writing. She is a beer writer. She's got a blog. She's done a lot of activism. She is having a bit of a quiet year this year because last year was really busy. And obviously she's got so many different things. She's got her beer writing, she's got her photography, and she's got her ceramics that she makes as well. So with queer brewing, it's an opportunity for almost like other people to shout about us. So the rest of the industry have an opportunity to kind of like take their bit of queer brewing and like elevate it. For them, it's kind of like, yeah, everyone can get involved with it. All the breweries that we collaborate with do their thing for us, and we're all raising money for various different charities. I think it's all on the website which different ones we raise money for. So yeah, it's a very organic thing. We're not very like in your face with our marketing and trying to be like, yeah, right on with everything. It's everything's happening in a really organic way with a lot of people supporting us, which is a really nice place to be in.
Anyone else? Would you let Amber go and have a dinner?
He hasn't made it yet.
Are you happy, Amber, if you are?
I've got a question.
Well, go on.
I didn't hear that. Sorry.
What are you having for your dinner?
I think they're having some kind of, I've got loads of kale in the garden, so I'm like, I need to eat the kale. Like kale, broccoli, mushroom pasta thing.
Healthy. Nice.
And what beer are you pairing that with?
So I don't often drink very much, and I've had 3 beers tonight.
I recommend a lovely glass of water.
Yes.
I do have one in my fine press glass.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amber.
It has been an absolute pleasure. You just broke the microphone doing that. Can I get a picture of all of you to put on our social media, please?
Oh yeah.
Amazing. So everyone raise your glasses. Looking great. Can't wait to meet you all in person. Thank you so much for letting me talk to you. Bye everyone. Bye bye.